Welcome to Season 3 of the Baby Names Podcast, naming the world one baby at a time. Here are your hosts, the Moss Sisters.
I'm Jennifer Moss.
And I'm Mallory Moss.
And we're the founders of BabyNames.com.
And we're sisters, too.
We still are. We are back from our July vacation. Thanks to everyone for tuning in again. And I hope that you used our break to catch up on some previous episodes or watch us on our Facebook Live, which we've done a couple of episodes of those while we were on vacation.
Absolutely, and boy, are they fun.
The last one was What Not to Name Your Baby, and they're all there for replay, so go over to our Facebook page, babynames.com with the DOT spelled out, and you'll find all our videos.
Please join us.
Yeah, so our first segment is always interesting names we found since the last episode. I actually have two. I just finished a binge of a TV show called The Rook on Starz, and the main character's name is Myfanwy. It's a Welsh name spelled Myfanwy, where the W is silent. So it's like Tiffany with an M. And it's not so hard to say if you take out that silent W. Like I said, it's a Welsh name. We just had a great episode on Welsh names, and it means my dearest. Now, I also found another name, a derivation of the name Xavier, with an E in front of it, Xavier, which I think is kind of cool because it reminds me of Excalibur. Xavier Pope is a fellow podcaster, attorney, and journalist.
Well, I would say that What Not to Name Your Baby is My Fanny. I know it's Myfanwy, but it sure seems like My Fanny when you look at it.
But it's Myfanwy.
Yeah, but how many people are going to come up with Myfanwy?
Here in the U.S., they might say My Fanny. You're right.
Exactly. All right, well, two male names that I heard were Ezio, which I assume is Italian, and Prem. Prem is an Indian male name meaning love or affection. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
I thought of the name Ramona, too, like the old children's book, and I think that's pretty. It is Spanish for council protection. I am not quite sure what that means, actually, but also Eileen, I-L-E-N-E, is a friend of mine who spells it that way, and that means beautiful bird. That's another great definition.
Those are great names. And now, our topic of the week this is an episode I've been waiting for a while, Twilight names. Okay, so I'm sure most of our listeners know what Twilight is, but just in case, I'll do a little recap. Twilight was a young adult novel first released in 2005, written by American author Stephenie Meyer. It's the first of a series, which she dubs the Twilight Saga, and the subsequent books were New Moon, Eclipse, Breaking Dawn, and the newest, released today, Midnight Sun. And I believe Midnight Sun is a retelling of the Twilight book, but from Edward's point of view.
Nice. I can't wait. I want it.
I know.
The movie Twilight was released 3 years later in 2008, and that was really when the craze took off. The novels not only were popular with the preteen and teen crowd, but they spanned generations of fans. Many mamas and their daughters or sons shared their love for the Twilight Saga.
Yep, that's what happened with me and Miranda. She was exactly at that age, 12, when Twilight was released. And we both became huge fans, and I even whisked her away one weekend to Forks, Washington, to sightsee. It was a lot of fun.
Was the weather rainy?
It was actually one of the days.
All right. Well, the main plot centers around a high school girl named Bella Swan, who goes to live with her father in a small town in Washington State. As you said, Forks. So when Bella starts at her new high school, she notices some of the students are a little strange.
They're vampires and werewolves. And we'll stop right there. I don't want to spoil it in case you actually haven't read the books or seen the movies. And I predict there will be a new wave of fans now with the new book and probably eventually a new movie.
What's interesting about the Twilight saga in our industry, though, is that it made an indelible impression on baby names. For the past 15 years, we've seen the character names from the series jump onto the charts, rise quickly, and remain steady. So we're going to go over the names of the Twilight characters and explain when and how this happened.
So we're going to start with the two main leads, Bella and Edward. Bella is human and Edward is a vampire. Now, in the books, Bella is short for Isabella Swan. The name Isabella was already becoming trendy when the series was released. It is a Latin Italian name meaning God is my oath, originally it was like a derivation of Elizabeth, actually. Bella itself also means beautiful in Italian. Now, the name Isabella, it started appearing on the U.S. birth charts in the early 90s and gained traction after Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise named their daughter Isabella in 1992. It then climbed quickly to the top 10 even before Twilight was released. Isabella was the top baby name in the U.S. for girls in 2009 and 2010, and then started to slowly drop. As of 2018, though, it's still holding at number 4. Now, the name Bella as a given name first appeared on the babynames.com charts in 2006, a year after the Twilight book came out, and it debuted at number 27. Now, on the U.S. birth charts, it was number 208 in 2005, then quickly shot up the charts and is currently at number 48. So it's still in the top 50. So, Mel, what are your predictions on the name Bella? Is it going to stick? Is it going to go up or down or what?
I think that Isabella is the one that is going to stick because people can always use Bella as a nickname. In fact, they probably will, that or Izzy. And I think that Bella itself will probably have a little bit of a spike because of the new book, but then I think it's going to quickly actually go lower than 50 because no one is going to want something so popular.
Yeah. And, when the movie came out, it was kind of rinky-dink. Like the later movies were a little more polished and they used unknown actors, and it's kind of hokey if you look back on it. So I'm not sure that gave any kind of cred to the name Bella or not, but it'll be interesting if they make Midnight Sun, if they're going to use the same actors, because they're going to be like, 20 years older almost.
Good point. Kind of like Harry Potter. I think it's so funny if you watch the first one versus the last one.
Yeah, they're such babies.
And Ron Weasley is like 20 feet tall. And Edward Cullen, who was born Edward Anthony Mason, Masen, is the main male lead in the series. He is a vampire who is approximately 100 years old. His backstory is that he was dying of Spanish influenza at 17 when his mother begged Dr. Carlisle Cullen to save him. Carlisle, already a vampire at that point, turned Edward in order to save his life. Then he became his adoptive father. Although the name Edward is a classic name, unlike Bella, it was not trending at the time the novels were released. The name Edward first jumped onto the babynames.com chart in the top 100 in 2008, the year the movie was released, debuting at number 94. In 2009, it jumped to 65, then dropped off the top 100 quickly. For U.S. births, Edward was in the top 100 from 1950 to 1997, started to drop with a little bump 10 places in 2009, but then continued to drop and is now number 169. Edward is an Old English name meaning wealthy guardian and was the name of 11 English kings.
Well, like I said, the movie was a little hokey, and he was a sparkly vampire. And I think in this case, Twilight might have affected parents not naming their babies Edward because it was a silly association.
Yes, I think you're right.
The second lead and second love interest in the series is Jacob Black. a Quileute Native American. Jacob becomes Bella's best friend, and he completes the teenage love triangle. Of course, Jacob had been a steady and popular name already before the series came out, ranking #1 in U.S. births from 1999 through 2012. Now, it started dropping in 2013 and is currently holding at number 13. I don't believe Twilight had any effect on this name, as it was already so prevalent on the charts. Jacob is a derivation of the Hebrew name Yaakov, meaning supplanter, or Yaakov, meaning may God protect.
I don't think that there's going to be any effect on Jacob now also.
No, I don't think so either. It was just already so popular that Twilight didn't have an influence on it. Unlike the next name,
Alice Cullen. And her original name was Mary Alice Brandon. Alice Cullen is a vampire, Edward's sister, and becomes Bella's friend, confidant, and champion. Alice is an English name meaning from nobility. This name was absolutely not trending before Twilight and was heavily influenced by the series. It first appeared on our charts in 2008 at number 87 and increased to number 19 by 2013. In the U.S. birth charts, it was in the 300s and 400s until the movie was released. Alice jumped from number 327 in 2008 to number 172 in 2010 to number 87 in 2015, and it's still rising.
Yeah, Alice was one of those names that was definitely a Twilight name, and I predict it's going to still rise and go higher and higher in the charts. It was a beloved character in the series.
Yes, absolutely. And I know that it's associated for the old crowd like us with the Brady Bunch, Maid.
Right.
But I don't think that it's going to be affected by the Brady Bunch Maid. I think that absolutely Twilight is going to increase it. And maybe people will do the alternative spelling ALYCE.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's also identified with another beloved character, Alice in Wonderland.
Ah, true that.
Yeah. The next is Rosalie Cullen, another vampire from the Cullen family. And she was originally named Rosalie Hale. The name Rosalie first appeared on the babynames.com charts in 2009, the year after the movie was released, debuting at number 88, and it's currently number 44. Rosalie also fits the flower-themed girl names, which has been a trend for the past couple of years. As for the U.S. birth charts, Rosalie had been hovering in the 800 and 900s until about 2010, when it jumped to number 590, and it's currently at number 208. Rosalie is a French name meaning beautiful rose. And I think because it's risen so fast that it's going to hit the top 100 and stay there for a while.
I actually think it's going to hit the top 30, so we'll see who is right.
Ooh, okay, let's do a wager on that one.
I'll give you $1.
Okay.
Jasper Hale, born Whitlock, is another vamp and member of the Cullen family. It was not a popular name until 2008 when it debuted on the baby names charts at 100 and quickly catapulted up the charts. Jasper is currently at number 22 for our users.
Mm-hmm.
As for U.S. births, Jasper averaged in the 600s until it jumped from 448 in 2008 to number 337 in 2009. It then continued to rise and was number 154 in 2018. Jasper is an English name from the Latin Gaspar, meaning treasurer.
What I think is interesting is that, again, the books didn't really influence baby naming, but once the movie came out, we could really see the change in 2008 to 2009. So that's what really influenced the parents naming their babies, and the names got, solidified in people's minds. The other thing I want to note is that the last statistics that we have from the U.S. Social Security Office are from 2018 because they have not yet released the stats for 2019.
Yes, it's unusual because usually that's around Mother's Day.
Right. So we're still waiting out here.
We are.
The name Emmett is another one that is directly from Twilight. It hit the babynames.com charts in 2009 at number 54.
Wow.
Went up and hovered in the 20s for a while and is currently holding in the top 10 at number 9. So popular. As for U.S. births, Emmett was in about the 400 to 600s for a while, but not too popular until about the year 2000. Then it started to rise. There was a big jump from number 547 in 2008 to number 332 in 2009. That's where that movie comes in and continues to gain popularity. Emmett is currently at number 114 for boys in the U.S. Now, Emmett is both an English given name and a surname, meaning entire. It actually came from the female name Emma, which is unusual because it's usually the other way around. Many women's names are feminized forms of male names.
Absolutely. And here is my interesting prediction. It is going to be used for girls.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Like Juliet, it has like the same ending as Juliet and the same beginning as Emma.
Yeah, exactly. And Esme Cullen, or Esme Platt, and later Esme Evanson, she was the matriarch of the Cullen family, and this name was nowhere on any U.S. chart prior to Twilight. It is a French name originally meaning loved. Esme first hit our charts in 2009 at 84 and hovered since, currently at number 79. For the birth stats, Esme first hit the charts in 2010 at 923, took a little dip, and then started rising again and is currently at number 556. Pretty good for a name that was extremely rare in the U.S. prior to the series.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to continue to go up. Like we said, it's currently at number 79 on our charts. So I think it's going to rise a little more in U.S. births as it becomes more of a well-known name in the U.S.
I like it. I think that's a good prediction.
Good. Unfortunately, the name Carlisle didn't make it onto any of the charts. Dr. Carlisle Cullen, born Stregone Beneficio, is the patriarch of the Cullen family and husband to Esme. Carlisle is a Scottish name, originally a habitational surname for people from the city of Lugavalium, England, now called Carlisle.
I don't think there's going to be any effect on the name Carlisle.
I wonder why that was like one of the names that just didn't do anything.
I don't know. I think that I have kind of a weird thing about the name Carlisle. I don't like the way it looks.
Because of the S?
Yes, exactly.
It has a silent S in there.
So, sorry, Silent S. I'm not a fan.
All right. So, I think you're right. I don't think Carlisle is going to jump onto the charts at all. You know, the shortened version, Carl, was popular maybe up through the 60s, but that isn't even trending anymore either.
Now, Charlie Swan, who is the other father, is the divorced dad of Bella. He's also the chief of police in Forks, Washington, where Twilight takes place. Charlie is originally a nickname for the name Charles, a derivation of the German name Karl, K-A-R-L, which literally means man. Charlie as a given name is currently 198 for boys and number 730 for girls on the babynames.com charts. As for U.S. births, Charlie popped onto the charts in 2005 for girls, was in the 700s up to 2008, and then jumped to number 616 in 2009 and number 461 in 2010. It is currently at 152. Now, one of the things that I think about Charlie popping up on the girls list is that there is a TV show called Good Luck Charlie, which was about a young Well, it was about her older sister, but Charlie was the younger sister. And I think actually that is what made the change for girls.
Really?
Anyway,
I've never heard of that in my life, and I'm a big television person.
I think it was the Disney Channel. I could be wrong.
Oh.
Or maybe Nickelodeon. It's actually pretty cute and it endures. Anyway, for boys, it slowly is increasing in popularity and is currently number 218.
James is also a main character in Twilight. However, as you might already know, James has been a popular biblical name for many, many years. It means supplanter and is actually a derivation of the name Jacob. James had been in the top 20 on our charts for a while, but it started to decrease in 2006. It made a comeback in 2008, not sure if that was from Twilight or not, but certainly a coincidence, and is currently at number 37. Now for U.S. births, James was in the top 10 from 1950 to 1993, then started to decrease slowly. It turned around in 2011 and is currently number 4 for boys. But like Charlie, James is also a semi-crossover name, sometimes used for girls. Now, we'll review some other interesting names from Twilight that you might consider for your baby in place of the more popular ones. Renesmee, Renesmee, is the name of Bella and Edward's baby, and it's a name created by Stephanie Meyer for the saga. It combines the names Renee, who's Bella's mom, and Esme, Edward's mom. Renesmee never made it onto any charts, unlike Esme, but it's on a smattering of our members' favorite name lists. So I wonder if anyone has actually used the name Renesmee for their baby.
Listeners, if you know of any real Renesmees out there, let us know.
Right.
Okay, my belief about Renesmee is that it will not pick up. However, I think Renee will pick up.
Interesting.
Yes.
So now let's go over some of the surnames, Mal. Let's talk about the name Cullen.
Well, interestingly, the surname Cullen has actually been used as a given name. It's ranked on the U.S. birth chart since 1974, but averaging in the 600s. Then in 2008, it jumped from number 782 to 483 in 2009, then to 412 in 2010. The name Cullen then started decreasing again and is currently number 589.
Now, was it for boys or girls or both?
That was on the boys chart only.
I really like Cullen, and funny enough, Cullen became more popular, but Edward didn't, dropped out of favor. And I think because Cullen represented the family as a whole, they were good vampires. They were supposed, quote, vegetarians and didn't really want to drink the blood of people.
Sorry, that sounds so goofy. Anyway, I think Cullen is a darling name. I think it works for either boys or girls, but I don't think it's going to increase because I think it's only associated with the Cullen family.
Now, the other surname Swan appeared nowhere on either chart, but I think it's a beautiful and certainly an acceptable nature name. Swans are identified with gracefulness and peace, and it's just a beautiful animal.
Yeah, and there's the ballet Swan Lake.
True. Other cool Twilight Saga names include vampires Bree Tanner, Riley Beers, that was a male, Zafrina with a Z, Zafrina, Senna and Kachiri from the Amazonian Coven, Eleazar, Sasha, Vasily, Irina from the Denali Coven. I also like the name Denali, by the way. Tia, Amun, Benjamin, and Kebi, Kebi, from the Egyptian Coven. And there's Alistair, Siobhan, and Liam from the Irish European Covens.
I don't think anything's going to happen to Liam.
Well, no, it's at the top of the charts right now.
But anyway, we gotta love Eleazar, which was my prom date freshman year of high school. And his nickname was Eddie. I've always been a fan of Sasha. Tia is pretty, and Kebby is also pretty interesting. Do you know if it was a male or female character?
I do not recollect.
Okay.
We could look it up, but I don't recall. I do love the name Sasha. It reminds me of my old Sasha doll from the 70s. But I would recommend that parents stay away from Liam right now unless they want a super popular saturated name.
Exactly, and no one really seems to want that. The werewolf characters in Twilight include Paul, Embry, Embry.
I like that.
Yeah, me too. San, San, Jared, Quill, Leah, and Seth. Oh, also there's Jacob's grandfather, Ephraim Black.
I like the name Ephraim. I think Jared has a little stain on it from Jared from Subway, although it's also the name of the jewelry store, so I don't know if those balance out.
No.
So, we talked about these 100-year names. Thinking about the Twilight names and their effect on baby naming, I came up with a theory. It was just about this time, 2005 to 2008, when the whole 100-year name trend or old-fashioned names started hitting the charts, specifically on the girls' side. Could it be that Twilight actually started that trend? Stephanie did a great job naming that Cullen family with names that were appropriate for their ages, just about 100 years old.
I think it's a definite possibility.
Yeah, and I also attribute the trend to people having easier access to their family trees from the online services and just wanting to use cool names of their ancestors, too.
And it very well may have been a combination of both.
It could. And then last but not least, the names of the books themselves could be used as given names, if not for humans, then maybe for pets. Twilight, Moon, Eclipse, Midnight, and certainly Dawn, which was a popular name in the 1970s. I still have my Dawn dolls, but the name Dawn dropped off in the 80s. It was kind of a hippie name.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, so was Moon and probably Midnight.
Probably. Yeah. Those are kind of woo-woo names. So listeners, if you want to add to the list or have any feedback, email us at podcast@babynames.com.
Hey guys, be sure to follow us on our socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest at babynames.com with the DOT spelled out.
And interact with me and Mal and other fans in our Facebook group. Just search the Baby Names Podcast on Facebook.
Yippee!
And now it's time for Celebrity Baby News.
Supermodel Gigi Hadid and One Direction alum Zayn Malik have announced that Gigi is pregnant. Few details are available, but we will keep you updated as soon as we have more news.
Cool. On July 28, Chris Maxwell of This Is Us fame and wife Rachel welcomed a baby boy named Bear Maxwell Sullivan. Well, Bear has an obvious definition, but Maxwell is somewhat more surprising, meaning from Max's spring.
Sophie Turner of Game of Thrones and singer Joe Jonas have welcomed a baby girl. The couple, who have dated since 2016, have not officially released the name, but TMZ reports that it is baby Willa. Well, we know TMZ is feisty when it comes to getting celebrity news, so I'm going to believe it.
I think I'm going to believe it too. I wonder if it's a family name of Sophie's or Joe's. Willa. Not on the charts yet. Sierra and Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson welcomed a baby boy on July 23rd. They named their baby Wynn Harrison Wilson. Wynn Wilson.
All right, Nicki Minaj has announced she is pregnant. No details here either, but we knew that she first dated Kenneth Petty when they were teenagers and since rekindled their romance.
Interesting. Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel have welcomed their second child, a boy whose name has not yet been released. Their daughter is 5-year-old Silas Randall, named after family members. So that might be a clue to what the new baby boy's name is going to be. We'll just have to wait.
Iggy Azalea, whose announcement last month of the birth of her son took the world by surprise, has finally announced her baby's name, and that is Onyx. This is in line with Iggy Azalea's real name, Amethyst Amelia Kelly. I think that's pretty cute. Jen, wasn't Onyx your first band's name?
It was. It was me and Danny Carlson. We were Onyx.
How old were you, Jen?
Like 11, maybe. But we did have one gig. Or maybe two. I think maybe we played the block party, too.
Does that count?
But I like that Iggy used a gemstone name because she has a gemstone name. That's pretty cute.
Exactly.
I'm delighted to announce a new Modern Family baby. Jessie Tyler Ferguson and husband Justin Makita welcomed their new baby on July 7th, a boy named Beckett Mercer. That sounds so important.
All right, here is the story of Olympia Lightning Bolt. Born to the Jamaican sprinter Usain Bolt, Olympia debuted on July 7th. Usain is known for 8 Olympic gold medals, so I guess it's okay that he picked Olympia for the name. Jen, what do you think of Lightning?
I actually think this is really cute, and I know I advise against pun names, but Lightning is her middle name, and so nobody has to know it unless she says what her middle name is. But using Olympia Lightning Bolt is just adorable, and her little face is adorable. You have to go to Twitter or Instagram and look up Olympia Lightning Bolt to see her little picture.
Yes.
Now on to some wonderful news. Quarterback for the Detroit Lions, Matthew Stafford, and wife Kelly had their 4th baby and 4th girl, just like us.
Yeah.
They named their 4th daughter Tyler Hall Stafford. This is in line with their other 3 girls who have gender-neutral names, Sawyer, Chandler, and Hunter. They're also occupational surnames, and so is Tyler. Tyler means Taylor. Tyler was born a year after Mom Kelly had a 12-hour brain surgery for a benign tumor. We want to send a special congratulations to the couple who have clearly overcome some difficult times. And now for the last segment is when we take questions from you, our listeners. I'll read the first one. Hi, Jennifer and Mallory. I've been listening to your podcast and I laughed when you said to one of the letter writers that they might be 13 because I definitely sent you letters when I was 13 because I loved names so much. I still do, and now I'm 26. My name is Catherine, which is really hard to say in Spanish. I switched to a Spanish version of it for ease when necessary. Now, with extra time on our hands during COVID, my husband and I have been making lists of names we like for fun. We love names that can work as well in English and in Spanish, like Oscar, Gabriel, and Elena. I do wonder, though, if our white side of the family might make the connection to Oscar Mayer Wiener or Oscar the Grouch, but it's a super common name in the Hispanic community, and we both like it a lot. Are there other names that are like that you like? Unrelated, while I understand why you don't like title names, it's important to remember that they started because after slavery ended, the only way Black people could ensure that their child would be addressed respectfully by white people was to include a title like Sir as their legal name. It makes me mad every school year when white teachers make fun of their students' names as, quote, crazy, when at least 90% of the time the problem isn't with the name, it's with the teacher's limited worldview. Anyway, thank you for years of great names and for also the backlog of your podcast, which is keeping me company while I'm stuck at home. Take care, Catherine.
Okay, well, very good point about the title names.
Yeah, definitely.
We will keep that in mind. And I think Oscar is not going to be a great name. Now, I do think that Oscar Mayer Wiener is not really going to play a factor in it.
I think Oscar has become more popular lately. And in fact, Oscar the Grouch has become almost a beloved character on Sesame Street because they have given him some depth. And he really has a warm heart. He's just cranky on the outside. You know, some other boy names that you might want to consider are Andres. That was my daughter's grandfather's name. You know, what also is becoming popular is Matteo, Mateo. It's also an Italian name. And that works really well in both English and Spanish. So that would work well, I believe.
Yeah, I agree too, actually 100%. I think Mateo is a great name.
And if you like the band, you could use Santana.
That's true, you could.
You could use that for a boy or a girl.
I thought you were going to say Onyx.
Another one I would also recommend that I love is Raphael.
Ooh.
I think that's just fancy.
Fancy?
It's a fancy name. Raphael. And you can call him Rafe.
Yeah, exactly. I like the name Raphael, and I would definitely use Rafe, or just Rafe.
Okay, so there you go, Catherine. I hope we've helped you. Mal, why don't you take the second one?
You betcha. Hi, Jennifer and Mallory. I was searching your names database after watching a TV show to get some information on the name Diva, Daiva. Maybe it's Diva. I don't know.
I think it's Diva, yeah.
Okay, it sounds prettier as Diva. And found it wasn't there. I was wondering if this is perhaps an alternate spelling or otherwise a name that would be added to the database. I unfortunately don't have any real information on the name other than that is the name of the actress who plays Eva Pierce on Murdoch Mysteries. My husband and I are expecting our second child this Christmas and are both interested in possibly using this name, but are hoping to find the meaning prior. Any insight you may have on this name would be greatly appreciated. Sincerely, Elena, which I think is a pretty name, Elyna.
Well, I did some research for Elena on the name Diva. And all the online sources say it was a name invented by the Lithuanian author-poet Vilius Storastas Vidunas. But I looked a little further and found two possible roots. One, a Slavic feminine form of the name David, which means beloved, or from an Avestan language, which is from the Middle East, a term for a supernatural entity with a disagreeable characteristic called a Diva, D-A-E-V-A, but sometimes spelled D-A-I-V-A. So I guess that would be like a poltergeist or a evil ghost. We have added the name Diva for you with both of these meanings to the babynames.com database. Thanks, Elena. It's a really interesting name. So it's a new name for everyone. Yeah. Now everybody's going to be going and naming their girls Diva, and it's going to shoot to number one.
Nope.
That's the episode, folks. Don't forget to watch us on our Baby Names Live when we talk about Twilight names and get your input and engage with you, our listeners. This week, our Baby Names Live will be on Thursday, August 6th, because Mallory has the gall to ask for her birthday off on Wednesday. So again, Thursday, August 6th, 1 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Central, and 4 p.m. Eastern. Join us for Baby Names Live. Bye, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We love you, and we love our family, and I love you, Mel. Thanks for joining me.
You betcha. Love you too. Bye.
Bye.